Okay. So today I'm just going to be talking about tilt. It is one of the last concepts in the psychological boot camp, psychology boot camp. It's the last one, and it's actually a fitting day for me to talk about this because I just went on tilt myself. And it's shitty because I know how to not go on tilt. I know the reasons why I go on tilt, and I still end up going on tilt. So that actually might make it, I'm probably one of the best sources to talk to about this shit right now. So, just to briefly go over my day to give you guys an understanding of how I went on tilt, how probably everyone else goes on tilt. I took a good trade. It was a really good trade. I was in profit. I should have taken profit at a key level where I knew we would reverse from, but I wrote it to break even. So that was greed. Okay, that's where greed took over. And whatever happens, it was a break even. I didn't lose anything to learn that lesson. But my second trade was a shitty loss. I knew I probably shouldn't have entered this. I was really confident in the draw. I accepted the risk of it and I lost. I knew it was a shitty trade and it was a loss. And that is actually an emotional trigger for me. I know my emotional triggers. I've talked about it in the boot camp. And taking a loss where I knew I shouldn't have entered causes me to kind of switch to an outcome focused mindset where now I want to make that money back. And I won't be thinking as logically as I was previously because now I'm just thinking about money. And that caused me to take a lot of emotional trades after this. And these trades weren't inherently shit, but I overtraded a lot. I was in profit, could have made all my money back, but I rode that to break even as well. Took another took another trade, and then that went to a loss. So now I was, hit my daily loss limit for the day basically. And then I kept trading because for some reason my daily loss limit didn't even go through. And I basically just told myself, fuck it. I don't even care about this account anymore. I'll just try and make my money back. So I was completely outcome focused. And when you go on tilt, you'll notice that you actually switch completely away from being process focused and trying to execute your edge to the best of your ability to just trying to make money, right? When you overtrade, your main focus is trying to make money. You're not trying to execute your edge good anymore because you don't have that many setups in the day that are really high quality. So you just end up taking lower probability trades with the hope that you can make money. So that's the core, that's at the very core of being on tilt. You just completely throw away the execution and trying to focus on becoming a professional risk manager and trying to execute your edge to the best of your ability, and now you're just trying to make money. It's that simple. So when you go on tilt, go into your journal, and you'll probably notice your mindset, if you journal your emotions, is just completely fucked because it's shifted away from the logical trader to the emotional trader. And like I said, for me, it was a specific trigger that occurred that made my emotions, made my decision making completely emotional. It was a specific trigger, and I allowed that to take over. So this just goes to show that you can be aware of going on tilt, you can be aware of your specific triggers and still let it happen. So the question is how, for me, and maybe you guys as well, but we'll apply it to myself, how can I prevent this from happening going forward? Because I can't go on tilt anymore. If I want to become profitable, if I want to reach max allocation, I can't be the type of person that allows myself to just blow an account because of a shitty loss. I just can't, I wouldn't be able to handle all of those funded accounts if I was able to do that. If I was capable of just, you know, completely losing my shit. So, what I need to do going into tomorrow is I need to actually act like a professional trader. I need to execute my edge, and that is the only thing I'm focusing on is executing my edge. I have risk management in place, and I need to stick to that because if I take a loss, then that's a loss and that's okay. If it's a shitty loss, then that sucks, but you need to walk away from the charts at that point, right? Because if you take a shitty loss, then now your emotions are everywhere. So now going forward, if I ever take a loss that I knew I shouldn't have even entered, that's when I just walk off the charts, because my risk management allows me to take another trade if I lose, if my draw is still intact. However, if it's a shitty loss I shouldn't have even entered, then I can't trade again after that. And I kind of know this, but I allowed that to take over my decision making anyway. So the core thing here is you just need to be able to remain process focused and stay disciplined in that approach. And it's really that simple. That's the only thing that you can do, because no one is going to prevent you from going on tilt if you want to be able to trade $100,000 on a single trade. No one's going to prevent you from blowing your whole account, right? You are the only one that could prevent you from doing that. So you need to be able to actually be disciplined in your own approach and stick to that. It's that simple. There's no secret sauce. You just can't make these shitty decisions. Okay. And the whole thing is just staying process focused at all times. When you notice you're shifting towards outcome focus, get off the charts. Take a breath. Because outcome focused mindsets will cause you to blow your account, just take a really dumb loss that was completely unnecessary, blow your fucking mental capability for the day and possibly the week. You need to protect yourself from yourself. So put measures in place to prevent you from actually going on tilt. Tomorrow, for me, I'm just going to really remain more process focused. And whenever these emotional triggers do happen, I have to get off the charts, because I know these emotional triggers cause me to lose more money. But for some reason, I stay on the charts. So now, if I have an emotional trigger that happens, I get off. It's that simple. So just create a framework to prevent yourself from making those decisions going forward, and understand that you are always capable of blowing your account. Always. So become the person that is disciplined. Become the person that it is disgusting to even make these shitty decisions, and put yourself in a position where you can blow your account. Um, I hope this makes sense, and I hope this isn't just too straightforward. But at the end of the day, there is no magic recipe to stop going on tilt. It really does require a lot of emotional discipline and understanding your triggers and what caused you to actually go on tilt. So take that, go in your journal, understand your emotional triggers, and when your triggers pop up, hop off the charts. Because if that happened to me today, I would have got off, I would have lost, I would have learned a lesson from it, and I would have been back tomorrow with the same account, potentially got that to have funded. Probably not, but who knows? So you just need to be able to understand yourself, put a framework in place that makes it impossible for you to go on tilt, and then you should be good. But you need to be able to be consistent with that, because, like I said, I'm just gonna toss this in here, and yeah, because these profitable traders, they're not going on tilt. You don't see them ever go on tilt, and when they do, they somehow end up winning because they're good at trading. But it's very rare they'll go on tilt. So you need to be able to eliminate that from your wheelhouse, because it just won't lead to profitability, and it'll prevent you from being profitable, and you'll eventually quit. So today is probably my last day ever going on tilt, if I'm being completely honest. I've said this so many times, but at this point, I just know better. And I've learned a lot from today. So going on tilt again would just be a complete abomination. Um, yeah, that's what it requires to be a trader, right? It's difficult to regulate your emotions, but if you want to become the type of person that can consistently make money, you're gonna have to be very disciplined with yourself. So I don't know if this makes a lot of sense or if this is even valuable, but take it from someone who just went on tilt. Um, you just feel like an idiot, in the sense that you shouldn't have done those things, but you did them based off of the hope of making money, which you know you shouldn't even be thinking about. So take that into account. Reflect yourselves. Like I said, go over your emotional triggers and learn from that. Okay. Probably just repeating myself here. So I'm going to end the video. And this was a quick one. I didn't have to go on the charts or anything like that. I just wanted to do a face to face. The next few will probably be just face to face because I don't really need to type anything out. It's just more of a rant. And yeah, okay, so don't go on tilt anymore. Lock in, become the trader that can be profitable. Okay, until the next one.